Tarita is a warrior for MS and believes that travel should be inclusive, not exclusive. Her company, Travel for All, ensures that regardless of your mobility or ability, you will have the travel experience of a lifetime. Now, let's talk travel. Here's Tarita.
Hola everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Travel for All. Today we have an amazing person and you're going to be very, very jealous because she is actually Skyping in to join this show from Cancun in lovely Mexico. We were just discussing the beautiful weather. So welcome Judith, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Tarita, and thank you everybody. Weather here is just great.
Yes, we're envious, Judith. She was telling me it was 28 degrees.
28 degrees, yeah.
Oh, lucky you. Now, for everybody listening, Judith owns, it's called Cancun Accessible. Now, Judith comes from a background, actually she has a commercial systems degree and a master's in tourism marketing. So she's the director and the co-owner of Cancun Accessible. So this company is amazing because they're dedicated to providing services for people that are disabled, that want to come and visit Mexico, visit Cancun, visit Riviera Maya, visit the Yucatan Peninsula. And so this is fantastic because what they do is they will make sure and they'll help you. Judith, tell us I'd love to know a little bit about your history. So you were born in Mexico. Tell us about yourself.
Sure. Well, yes, I was born in Mexico. I was born actually in the capital of Quintana Roo State, where we are located, where Cancun is located. I was born in Chetumal. That's the name of the city. But since 14 years ago, I came to live to Cancun. So, I have been living here and enjoying this paradise since 14 years ago. And, I think this is my place now.
Yes, you live in a beautiful, beautiful spot. So you're very, very lucky.
Yeah.
What made you want to study tourism?
In the place where I was born in Chetumal, it's not a very touristic area. So I studied something different to tourism, but I was really interested in tourism, because I was born in Chetumal, but I grew up in a little village close to Chetumal that we have a beautiful lagoon. So it's called Bacalar Lagoon. It's very beautiful. It's the second largest lagoon in Mexico. My family has some place around there. So we wanted to. All my family wanted to have a place to receive people. Like a little cottage area, and people can enjoy and rest for the weekend there. So I get started to be interested in tourism. So I decided to come to Cancun to study tourism, and I study a master degree in tourism. So that's how I started to get involved in tourism.
So did your family have little cottages where you grew up? Did they have people come and stay in the little cottages? Is that how it all started?
Excuse me?
Where you grew up in Mexico, the little village, did you have your family have little cottages that people could come and stay and visit? Many years ago, I would think.
We were planning that, and we still have that plan, but it hasn't happened yet. But that area where I was born is getting more attention for people who wants to do tourism in that area.
Great. Lucky. That's beautiful. So then you came to Cancun. What's the distance from where you were born to where you live now? Is it a big distance?
It's 4 hours driving.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's fairly normal. So then you studied tourism, And what led you to wanting to help people that are disabled? Do you have a family member that has a disability? What made you want to do this?
Well, when I started with this project, nobody around me has a disability. I was working in the hotel industry, so I wasn't related with anything of this. But in the hotel where I was working, the general manager of the hotel, he has some partners who wants to develop a company like this in Cancun. So he asked me to do all the appointments and paperwork to somebody, a consultant from Spain came to this area to see if it was a very good opportunity to have this company here. So when this person came from Spain and we start to visit and to talk about disability, accessibility, and tourism, I really fall in love of those subjects, and that's why I'm here.
Right now, and I know that Mexico there's some places that are very accessible, but like we were talking about, there's a lot of places that in a wheelchair, there's no way that you can visit them. So do you think that Mexico is slowly, the tourism government is slowly trying to make it better for people in wheelchairs to come and visit them, to come and do tourism in Mexico?
Well, yes. Some time ago, 10 years ago, when we started with this project, government and in general people, they didn't believe it was a very good option, accessible tourism and everything. But now they have been watching the numbers and the people who is traveling because of this. So now they are getting more interested in this subject. So even we still don't have the best condition and accessibility in our country. Government now is slowly, moving the space to this area of tourism. So I really believe that since this year, of the past year to and forward, they will look more for having this segment, these people with disabilities coming to our country, and for making that possible, they need to change the cities and the infrastructure we have in this area for being more to be open to receive more people with disabilities in general in this area.
Right. Now in Mexico, there's people with disabilities all over the world. Mm-hmm. How do people in Mexico that are disabled, how do they manage?
Well, it's not easy for them. It's starting to change this too, because some years ago it was very hard to see somebody with a disability on the streets. They were in their houses with their family, and that's it. They have no the opportunity to go out.
No life. Right.
Yeah, no life. Yeah, that's right. But as everything is moving and changing, so now it's more usual to see people with disabilities on the streets. Some of them having some jobs. Some of them are going to school, to university, but it still is a little bit hard, we need more. I mean, the people with disabilities in general, they need more places to first where they can have rehabilitation, or companies who are ready to hire them, schools that have all the information for preparing, for help them to get ready to have a life, and. And the government is still working on inclusion. I mean, to having more opportunities for all of them. But it's not only from government; it's from everybody. And
right.
in Mexico, we have something very particular that as Mexicans, we love to help. We like to help everybody. So when we see somebody in a wheelchair, for example, we try to help. It doesn't matter if the help is not needed. We want to help.
It's people, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So sometimes that help is not necessary, and sometimes we shouldn't be helping that person because she needs to do the things by themselves, because they need to be independent and they need to do their things by themselves. But that's why I mean it's not only for government, it's from everybody. We need to change our minds and to get in the correct education for the help and for the for helping to these people with disabilities.
And because a lot of countries, Judith, they don't know how to help people that are disabled. They're unsure. They're unfamiliar. Sometimes they're scared to talk to somebody that's in a wheelchair or that's blind or whatever it is. So it's going to take some time. I think that there's many countries, not just Mexico, but many places that are very, very slowly making the change, but they're at least trying to make a change, and that's one of the things. And I know that the years that I've been working in the travel industry, I have so many times people ask me, look, we'd like to go to Mexico. We'd like to do an all-inclusive at a resort in Mexico. But the problem is that there's nobody to pick us up. There's nobody that can take us to do any tours, nothing like that. Because the travel suppliers that we use in North America, most of them, they don't have adapted vehicles. So when they're picking up the passengers from the airport, they don't have an adapted vehicle. So the passenger has to always make sure they make their own arrangements. So Canada is such a large country. And even in Canada, all of the travel suppliers, if we use Air Canada Vacations or WestJet Vacations or whoever we use, there's no way for us as a travel agent to arrange with the Air Canada or with WestJet for the client to actually be picked up in a wheelchair accessible vehicle. They just say, well, we'll lift them into the minivan. But so many people don't want to be lifted into a minivan. They want to have some independence, just like we said. So I think that is why you started your company. It's perfect. Now tell us about how long ago you started Cancun Accessible, and give us a bit of a history about the company.
Well, okay. As I mentioned before, I was working in a hotel. So some people they talked about having this company, and they hired somebody to do all the paperwork to know if it was a very good option to having this here. So they get the conclusion that it was a very good option, because we are a very important destination in the world. Cancun is a very known place, and a lot of people wants to come to this area. So these people from Mexico and this. They did a association. They were partners from Spain and from Mexico, and they hired me to be part of the company. So I was hired in the operation department. So I was in charge of see all the movement, the transportation and the tours and everything in this company. But we had 4 months after we opened the company, or the owners opened the company, we had that very big hurricane in this area, Vilma. So
right.
everything was destroyed, and so a lot of our equipment was damaged. So the owners and the person who came to open the company, he went out of Cancun because of this hurricane. So the owners was like not they didn't decide if it can follow. I mean, if they can follow with the company, and finally they decide to close it. But I was in love with this this company. Yes. So 1 year after that, I decided to start by myself. I get associated with another person, and we started since 2008, 2007 to offer all these services to people with disabilities who wants to visit Cancun and the Riviera Maya. So that's the beginning of Cancun Accessible, and it was a little bit hard to let the companies that they were already here. As an example, if I go with the transportation, the main transportation company in Cancun, and let them know that I have services for people with disabilities, they say, "Oh, it's okay. I can pick that up, and I have a lot of staff at the airport, and I can handle it." I mean, I pick up the chair, the wheelchair, and the people in the wheelchair, and that's it. I don't need your services. But after a while, they saw it was very hard and it was difficult, and we were their solution for these type of services for them. So they start to believe in us and hire us, and that's why they start to see how we were working. And in belief in these services, it was the easier way for people with disabilities to go to their hotels or going to know some places.
And it's so important because people with disabilities, some of them are very, very embarrassed when they have to be lifted into a taxi or into a minivan. It's very embarrassing for them, and they feel ashamed. So it's nice to know that they can just have a vehicle, a transfer that is for them to stay in their wheelchair. It's very important for them to be independent. So 8 years ago, 2008, you started Cancun Accessible. You and another person started, didn't you? It was two of you.
Excuse me?
Two of you started the company, took over the company in 2007 and 2008.
We started in 2007.
Right. So that is how did you find when you first started? Were there a lot of people coming from overseas that were interested in your services? Did they know what you were doing, that you were offering, transportation and all of these things for people that were disabled?
Do you mean how they know about our services?
How did they know? Right. How did they know what you were doing?
Okay. It was through internet. We have a web page, and a traveler with a disability, they are very good searching information in the web and the internet. So it is one of our ways that they know about us, our customers know about us. And the second one is because we have the agreement with the companies. They are already here, and maybe Vesday, for example, it's a company, very well-known company here, and they have the contracts with Air Canada, for example, or with WestJet. So WestJet requests to Vesday the company here in Cancun to do a transportation. So Best Day call us, and we do the transportation in behalf of Best Day, and this company is working for WestJet, and WestJet was hired for these people with disability. So that's the process we have for having the customers in this area.
So what type of vehicles do you use, Judith, for transporting people in wheelchairs?
Well, we have a van. It's from the Toyota brand. Okay. It's very, very comfortable. It's very high. And we have ramps, no lifts, but it's a ramp that was made for that. So it's very, very easy to use. It's very simple to go into the van. Inside the van, we don't have the seat behind the driver for having enough space for the wheelchair. So we can lock the chair in 4 points from 4 points from the van to 4 points of the chair. So the person in a wheelchair can travel in their own wheelchair. So that's very safe and very easy to get into the transportation.
And now you do more than just transfers. Tell us about how the company's expanded with what you can offer people with disabilities. Tell us about what you offer besides just picking them up from the airport and taking them to their resort.
Sure.
Many other things.
Sure. Well, we believe that if you are coming to Cancun, we don't want you only stay in your resort. We want to know many places in this area. So we have tours, accessible tours that we have previously visited, and we are sure that it is possible to go to that area. So we can go to Chichen Itza and Tulum, to the main parks in this area, Xcaret, Xel-Há, and we can take you to swim with dolphins. And only for shopping in Cancun or Playa del Carmen. So those tours we have designed for people with disabilities. And the other services we have is rental equipment. So when you come to this area, if you don't want to bring your own wheelchair, we can rent you one here, or rent you on a scooter, an amphibious chair that, of course, if you want to come to Cancun, is because of the main attraction, the sea, the ocean. Right. And well, not all resorts are prepared to go by the sand, so we can rent you an amphibious chair that can let you pass through the sand and go into the ocean. So these chairs can float. And of course, you need to be with somebody else. I mean, if you are in the amphibious chair, you need the assistance of one more person. But this is wonderful because you can really enjoy the ocean with nobody who is picking you up or lifting you up. You only transfer to this chair, and you go to and you can use in the ocean or in the pool, in the pool of the resort. And we have to medical oxygen available, and we can send you to your resort a nurse or a caregiver to help you to assist you to go out of the bed or go into the bed, to help you to take a shower, or giving the meals or whatever you need to when you stay in this area. So this is the services we have available for the travelers.
Great, you offer so many, and people want to go and see, the Incan. They want to see the history of Mexico, so they can go and see the Inca treasures, and see some of the sculptures and a bit of the history. You do that as well, right?
Well, yes. The most important attractions we have in this area are the Mayan culture, and that's why we have those trips to the main Mayan cities, as Tulum. Tulum is only 1 hour and a half to 2 hours from Cancun. So this is the view from this area is just amazing because it's oceanfront. Mm-hmm. So it's just amazing. And the most famous and requested from our customers is Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza is 3 hours from here. It's a long trip, but it's very nice place, an interesting place to know. If you really want to know about the Mayan culture, Chichen Itza is the place that you need to know. And one of my favorite places too, because there's a lot of knowledge in that area. So for going to Chichen Itza, you need all day long. You because it's 3 hours for going, 3 hours for visiting the area, 1 hour for having lunch. We visit another city, colonial city. I mean, the cities they were built when the Spanish came here with the conquest and everything. And there you can get a souvenir or something, and then 3 hours for coming back. So you need all day long. It's around 10 to 12 hours to do this tour. It's a long, but yeah, it's very, very good and very, very interesting place to know. And Chichen Itza is one of the 7 wonders of the New World. So everybody wants to know this place, and we have available for. This is very accessible, and is ready to receive to people with disabilities in that area.
That's wonderful. Now, what about visiting restaurants and things like that? Do you do tours as well for people that want to experience that part of the Mexican culture, which is the food? That's a popular thing. Mm-hmm. Do you have something that you're working on as well that is about visiting restaurants and learning about the food in Mexico?
Yeah. We have that tour, that shopping tour, that you can shop and you can go to a restaurant. But very, very few months ago, we have a company that is doing a tour that is a food tour, and you can this person they take you to a place where you it's a restaurant, no in Cancun hotel zone area. You need to go out a little bit, so it's in the middle of the jungle. So it's beautiful. So they have a kitchen, a traditional Mexican kitchen in this area. So they teach you to cook guacamole and sopa de lima, fajitas, and all those traditional dishes we have in the Mexican food. So they teach you how to prepare it, and then you eat that meals in the middle of the jungle and in a very quiet area. So this is one of the most a lot of people wants to do this because, of course, as you say, Mexican food is famous.
Very popular.
Yeah, very popular too. So they teach you to do tacos, guacamole, and salsa picante, spicy sauce.
What about mole?
Guacamole, that's right.
Right. Yeah.
So we have those services too. I mean, it's a little bit hard to find those places or those companies who wants to have those services. I mean, for services they do the service, but having the ramps and the toilets and everything for people with a disability can go to do this activity too. But every time we are more companies are getting more interested in having those services because they see and they know that more and more people want to visit this area, and they should have those services ready and prepared for receiving all tourists that they want to come here.
That's right. There's 1.6 billion people in the world that are disabled.
Yeah,
and I know that they would love to come. So many of them would love to come to Mexico and enjoy the travels, enjoy the tours, enjoy the food, but they're not sure if it's something that they can do in the wheelchair. So it is fantastic, though, that you are expanding. Now, what do you have for future projects? What are the future projects that you're working on?
Well, we have many of them. We want to go to more destinations in Mexico. Having these services in other destinations, like Los Cabos, like Acapulco, like many places in Mexico, because Mexico, well, is not only Cancun or the Riviera Maya. We have many places to know. Yeah, this is a wonderful country to know, and we don't want only you go to visit Cancun. We want to visit more places. So this is one of the huge projects we have. But more specific, now we are starting with a circuit where you can visit. You arrive to Cancun and you stay in Cancun for a few days, and this is a designed tour or circuit for 4 nights and 5 days, visiting the most interesting and popular places in the Yucatan Peninsula. All related with the Mayan culture. So we visit, the first day we visit Tulum, Valladolid, and we sleep in Uxmal. Uxmal is another very important Mayan city from the Mayan world. And next day we visit the Uxmal archaeological site, and then we go to Choco Story Museum. So, here in this area, the cocoa was one very important product. It was used like as a coin many years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So in this museum, you can see all related with the cocoa and chocolate, and they gave you the chocolate drink. You can drink it, you can eat it, you can have chocolate for all these places, and it's a very interesting place to visit. It's just next to Uxmal, so very nice and very accessible. The chocolate story museum, and we sleep in Merida City, one of the most important cities in Mexico, after Mexico City, Guadalajara, Monterrey, and Merida. So we sleep in Merida, and next day we go to visit Celestún. Celestún is ecological reserve. It's a lagoon between it's lagoon and the ocean. They are together, and you can see flamingos in that place. Yeah, very nice. They are very pink, very colorful. Yeah, they are really nice. For doing this, of course, you need to transfer to a manual wheelchair, because a power wheelchair is not possible to bring to the boat. Right. But we let the client know all this before. You get all that information before you do it. So right. You decide if you want to do or not. So we eat in Celestún area. It's a very quiet city, small city, by the ocean. So it's very nice too. And then we go to visit downtown Merida, which they have a lot of churches, and they have a lot of different stores and a lot of people who is doing the handcrafts in the main park.
Right.
So it's very, very nice to visit. And the fourth day we go to Hacienda Sotuta de Peón. Hacienda Sotuta de Peón is a place where, an hacienda is an old house when the Spanish came here, and they need to have their own production. So they have those big houses. This is one of the is still working, and they show you how all this process and how was changing the concept of this hacienda. And then we go to Chichen Itza. The last thing is Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza is having a show at night. It's a light and sound show. They project to the main pyramid, the Kukulkan pyramid, a lot of shades and colorful shades. And they gave you a story about how all this, they show you how was painted this city, when they were just in the best time of the city. So it's very, very nice. And the last day we visit Chichen Itza during the day, because the last day was at night. So the last thing we do for closing this circuit is Chichen Itza. And of course, all the time we are eating in the most traditional restaurants for having a good idea about the local dishes in this area, because we know the Mayan food is another type of food in Mexico. So this is one of the projects, because we have many customers that they have come here, that they have came to this area. So every time they want to do more things and more activities. So we are moving to this area to having more options for the travelers with disabilities.
That sounds wonderful. That sounds like a wonderful trip, a wonderful excursion. And where do they stay? Is it accessible hotels, or is it older homes? Like where do they stay at?
Yeah, we have located hotels that they are accessible. We send to the client. We send the hotel names and the photos of the room, accessible room, to everybody knows how is the condition of that room, because accessible can mean something different for you than for me, for everybody. So when you see in a picture or a video how is the room, then you can decide if that will work with you or not. So of course, if in Cancun or in the Riviera Maya we don't have many options about the accessible rooms, in that area it's more delicate. I mean, it's more you need to be very specific with the hotel you want and the room you want, because it's very difficult to find the facilities for accessibility in that area. But still, we have found some of them, and of course, we are working with the hotel people to let them know that how is the best. We gave them to recommendations. About how is the best way to having more accessibility in the public areas in the hotel and in the room too. So of course, as they see more people going to these places, they need to pay attention more in those recommendations. So we are impacting too. We are doing a positive impact of tourism, accessible tourism.
Very much.
Because of course, if they don't see travelers with a wheelchair or travelers with disabilities, they say it's not necessary to do all those things in my building because they don't come here. But if they are start to see those people traveling, they say, yeah, well, it's very urgent that we have all those adaptations in the building.
When they see that it's profitable, that it's profitable for them to invest some money to make a few changes so that they can welcome the disabled traveler, then they will be, of course, interested in doing this. So I think it's fantastic, Judith. I would love to come and do the last tour that you talked about. I'd love to go. I was in Merida years ago. I'd love to go back to Merida. And
oh, really?
Beautiful, beautiful city with so much history. So the stories that they can share with you about Merida it's amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic, and you obviously, this is something that you do from your heart. It's something that's very important to you, and that's the best type of business to be in. Just like me, I love what I do, and because I'm disabled as well, I understand the need to make things available for us so that we can travel. And that's fantastic. I think it's just wonderful. So is that the only project you have going, or is there more projects?
Well, one of the last we have been working, and is the vision of this company is not only helping or to travelers with disabilities around the world. We want to impact, and we want to help people with disabilities here in Cancun or in Mexico too. But we want to start with Cancun. So we are doing travel with a cause. So we are calling like this. And this program is for the customer, the traveler with disabilities who is in Cancun and is going to visit Chichen Itza or Tulum. Those tours are private. You know, you only go you and your family, and it's 5 or 2 or only 1 people. It's private. It's only for you. So we ask them if they want to share the tour with people with disabilities from Cancun. That this person, probably this person has never been in Chichen Itza or in Tulum. So a lot of people with disabilities want to visit these places, but they don't have the money or the time or somebody who accompanying them to go to know these places. So we started 2 months ago with this program, and we have asked to some of our customers that we already know that they want to go to Chichen Itza, and their answer is yes, of course. We want to share it. Yeah, and they already pay for transportation and for everything. So we invite people with disabilities and one more person with the accompanying them. So this is very. A lot of people with disabilities in Cancun, they are very interested to visit. So the first program, the first time when we did it. It was 4 weeks ago, and it was from with one people from Canada. She came here. She came with her mom, and her mom. She didn't want to go to Chichen Itza because it was a long trip and everything. So she was going alone. So I asked her if she was able to share, and she said yes, of course. So we invite 2 more people. One of them was Lulu, the one of our staff. Yeah. So she was very. She was very happy to be part of this because it was the first program we did, and it was the first time for her, she in Chichen Itza, and for her mom too. So, this is a very, very nice program, and
that's so rewarding. What a rewarding program! You're changing people's lives, and these are people that live in Mexico, that live in Cancun, that had never visited Chichen Itza. That's because they can't get there. So I think that is so wonderful, so rewarding, Judith. I think that's fantastic. I love that program. And I'm sure that most people would say, yes, please welcome somebody else.
Yeah. We of course, we know that, of course, people who is traveling from other countries, of course, they want to share and they want to know local people, and must, if they have a disability, because they know, because they have a disability too. So this is very interesting, and we want to have more companies, because right now the expenses of these people, invited people, goes. Cancun Accessible pay for the food and the entrance and everything for these people. But we also invite to people who wants to
donate.
Do it. Yeah, donate. And of course, maybe they don't have the opportunity to invite somebody to Chichen Itza, but through this program they can do it, and of course we want have this program for more activities, like for example the parks. We have very, very nice parks in this area, and but of course it's expensive for local people, so we can do this, we ask to the clients if they want to share the transportation to this place, and we take them, we invite them, and of course one part of the entrance fee can be donated by this company and by Cancun Accessible company. So we want to this benefit can go to more people in this area. And we love this program too.
I love that program. I'd love to help you with that program. I think that it's paying it forward. It's making a positive change, and it's helping other people. That is just, that we need to do those good things in the world, and that's I think it's fantastic. And I'm quite sure that most travelers would love to welcome somebody else that's a local person that's disabled, that has never had the opportunity to visit the places because of finances, because they're poor. They can't afford to. So I think that's fantastic. You're doing so many wonderful things, Judith. I think it's wonderful. I'm really, really very, very, very proud of all this work that you're doing. It's so, so great. It's changing people's lives, not just visitors that come to Mexico that are disabled, but changing the lives of people in Mexico that are disabled. You couldn't do anything better. I think that's fantastic. You're making such wonderful changes, and it's so, so lovely. And I know that people that are listening in that would love to come to Cancun and do some traveling, please contact me, and we would love to arrange a trip for you to come and visit and do some sightseeing with Judith. And you've given me a list before, Judith. I have a list of the accessible resorts that are that the clients prefer, that are really good for accessibility. Do you know, Judith, can you rent lifts and those types of devices for people as well? Lifts to get into the swimming pool, or lifts for them to get into bed?
We have available to that for rent. We have the lifts. We have the hospital beds too, because some people require for having a best comfort. They have a hospital bed type, this kind of beds. We have what else? The lifts for going into the pool, the specific for going into the pool. We don't rent them, but we have a list of the very few hotels in Cancun that they have that pool lift for going into.
And you send me that list as well, so I have that, because there are hotels, but there's very, very few. But those hotels, I guarantee you that we can send so many people their way, so many travelers that are disabled, the other hotels will sit back and look and see how busy they're becoming, and maybe they'll realize that this is something that they want to invest in as well. So
yeah, and excuse me, this is another very important project we have, because there are some companies that they go with the hotels, for example, and they say you must invest in having accessibility in your building, in your hotel, and they do a plan, they do a project for changing everything, for renewing and having the ramps and having everything.
Right.
But after they invest, they don't see too much people using those services, or they don't see the benefit of that invest.
That's
so
right.
What we are doing is working together with a company from Spain, that this is very, very, very new, and we want to, this company do the remodelations, do the adaptations, do everything, but we send them to that resort. I mean, that's the resort we must recommend for going, because they have been working on that. So that way, the owner, the owner of the hotel, they can see their invest is working now for them. So that's another things we need to.
So we'll work on that together, because that's something that is very important to my company, and so I think that's fantastic. Now, if people want to get a hold of Cancun Accessible, so the website is www.cancunaccessible.com.
Yeah.
You also have a Facebook page. Sorry, go ahead, Judith.
The Accessible is in Spanish, Accessible, so it's only one S.
That's right. Thank you. Yes, that's right. It's in Spanish, so it's www.cancun and then accessible, accessible.com, one S. And you also have a Facebook page as well. And the Facebook page is also Cancun Accessible with one S. So ACCESIBLE, Cancun Accessible on Facebook. And the Twitter handle is the same. It's Cancun Accessible, once again, with one S. So I urge you to reach out to Judith and reach out to myself as well, because Travel for All, we would love to be able to help you and go and enjoy a fantastic, fully accessible holiday in Mexico, including tours, including everything that you need to make this a perfect vacation for you. And Judith, I think what you're doing is fantastic, and I'm so, so glad that you became a guest on our show. You have so many wonderful things that Cancun Accessible is doing, and I would love to keep, I'll keep everybody updated on what the future projects are, because I think that Cancun Accessible is going to be doing many wonderful things. From the sounds of it, Judith, you have a lot of things that you are working towards. So it's fantastic. I am really, really, really thrilled. Thank you so very, very much for sharing what you're doing with the listeners and with everybody who would like to visit Cancun. There's not a better place to go, I don't think, than to reach out to Cancun Accessible, who has a wealth of knowledge, can make sure that you are looked after while you're there. So thank you so much for joining us, Judith. I really, really appreciate you sharing wonderful stories about Mexico.
Thank you, Tarita.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a ustedes. Thank you very much for inviting me to this radio show. Thank you very much for all the support that I have been getting from you since we meet. And I want to let you know that you are welcome anytime you want in Cancun. This is a paradise, and I will love that more and more people, more people around the world, they can come here and they can enjoy worry-free this wonderful place. So you are really, really welcome, and anytime you want to be part of this paradise, we will be ready to welcome you.
Thank you so much, Judith. Muchas gracias, and we will talk to you soon. And for all of the listeners, as I say, please reach out to Judith or myself so that we can ensure that you visit Accessible Cancun and you can do all the wonderful things that she has prepared for you. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to Travel for All. And the next time we'll have some more wonderful, inspiring stories and companies of people that believe in inclusion and believe in accessibility and want to share that with the world. Thank you so much. Hola, Judith.
Adios, Tarita.
Adios. Adios.
Adios.
Thank you for listening to Travel for All Radio. We hope that we have inspired you to travel. And remember that travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer.